Welcome to another episode of The Dissection. Today, we need to talk about the ANC communication strategy in respect to the Mkhwanazi allegations. So, number one, Senzum Kunu did an event on Saturday where he said mistakes happen. Effectively, he said, to err is human. People are getting more poetic than Tupac in all of this. To err is human is a quote from Alexander Pope's poem, An Essay on Criticism. So in vernacular, he gave a version of the Alexander Pope poem. And then Fikile Mbalula actually also revealed that Brown Mogotsi is sending him text messages. And he took some jabs. He took some jabs at some people. I don't know if he's creating some distance now between himself and even people higher up. So Brown Mogotsi is a special man. At this point, we all know that. The man has everyone's number. He has a bigger black book than Olivia Pope. He's a bigger fixer for some people than Olivia Pope was. He has more connections than an upcoming Hosh Karimama. You know, those upcoming Hosh Karimamas, they know all the tender dons. They know all the Hosh Kari dons. They know everyone in every nightclub, every center, every shopping center. They know everyone. Let's start with Senzum Kunu. If you pay attention to the ANC machine, you'll be able to ascertain that the ANC is moving on the Mkhwanazi allegations, and you can actually see the communications and strategy unfolding if you're paying close attention. For instance, if you look at Senzo Mchunu himself, he's been playing the game in the following way. Number one, he's still actively attending ANC events, some of them high-profile ANC events, right? NEC meetings, that kind of thing. This weekend, though, it looks as if he decided to stay in KZN and play the ground game because he didn't go to this particular meeting, but has gone to other ANC, NEC meetings, and maybe he was told not to come through to this one in particular. Senzum Kunu has also been doing ground game politics in a way. He's been giving lectures in KZN, getting his version out to the base in KZN. A few months ago, he was actually attacking the generals, saying that they're the ones who gave black generals an opportunity. He's been giving these talks at memorial lectures within the ANC. Yesterday, the talk that he was giving as the keynote speaker was a talk about two ANC activists. I think they'd actually unveiled some tombstones, and these are two activists who were killed in the early 1990s. According to the TRC reports on these activists, Simon Bongani Msweli was an ANC member who was injured during a shootout with members of the South African police at Empangeni on the 14th of August 1992. Afterwards, a member of the Empangeni murder and robbery squad stopped the vehicle which was taking him to hospital and shot him dead. That policeman was subsequently sentenced to 18 months imprisonment, but was actually granted amnesty in the TRC process. Then Michael Mtetwa was an ANC supporter who was shot dead by IFP supporters, allegedly accompanied by members of the KwaZulu-Natal police at Sokulu, KwaZulu-Natal, Empangeni on the 14th of August, 1992. So, as you can tell, these two individuals on the same day after there was skirmishes between the police and IFP and a variety of issues that happened there. And this perhaps informs why Senzo Mchunu is very interested in the policing side of things and why he actually motivated that, listen, put me in, because he would be talking about these activists, their deaths, how he was involved, how he intimately knew these people in the 90s, and how the police was a vehicle for eliminating opponents. And it's ironic, or I guess a curious factor of history, that he now finds himself being implicated in dissolution of political killings task teams. He may feel that it's justified to do that because a task team of this nature killed activists that he was close to. But while he was giving his remarks yesterday, he said something that has now gone viral. He specifically was referring to mistakes and what role mistakes play within political life. And that remark is going viral. People are feeling that he was flippant. I'm going to do a translation of the speech, that part of it, because I know everyone doesn't speak Zulu. isiZulu is not everyone's mother tongue. And equally, we actually on this platform have an audience that is worldwide. We have viewers in Namibia, Malawi, Botswana. We have viewers in Australia. We have viewers in Germany. We have audiences in the UK. The men them are watching the show, innit? Salute the men them fully. Salute to you. So we have an international audience here, and If you haven't subscribed, you need to subscribe. You need to become part of this international community, regional community, global community. We're aiming to hit 120K subscribers in October. We already crossed the milestone of 100,000. We've now crossed 110,000. If you haven't subscribed, I would like to personally invite you to join the community. I am personally asking you to become part of this community. In this community, we have a goal. We want to end hoshkari behavior. We want to bring hoshkari behavior to 0% by 2026. So by participating in the community, you actually help us spread the dissection, spread the eradication of all forms of hoshkari behavior. We must end it. And if you haven't subscribed, that itself is hoshkari behavior. So join the community. It's free 99 every day. Press notifications so that you don't miss an episode. So back to the viral comment from Senzum Kunu. This is what he had to say. If you feel like making a mistake, then just make the mistake, because you're just a human being. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Just make the mistake. And if they criticize you, allow them. Then ask them if they are done with their criticism. Ask them if they're done. Then tell them that you are thankful for their criticism. In fact, you are happy that they're criticizing you. But just know, Mtia, that those who criticize the most often don't have any solutions. But welcome their criticism as well. They often criticize. Even if you give that person 15 minutes to, they won't be able to say, because I'm criticizing this and saying, let's not do this, here's what I'm proposing as the solution. But you must welcome those people too, because those critics are important in an organization. In fact, the critics are the ones you should listen to the most, even if they are really saying nothing. But listen to them until you can say, I have listened to you very carefully and you criticize very well. But this and this are the solutions that will take us forward. So welcome the critical people. And that moment actually reminds me of the famous Smolanyana skeletons moment. If you remember that comment by Batabile Dlamini, she said, we all have Smolanyana skeletons in our closets. Now, the state of the closet, that closet must open up into corruption nania or something. You must go through that closet into a hole. You remember in Lion King where the hyenas were and all of that, the Valley of Bones? I think that's exactly what corruption nania looks like, because there's no way those skeletons are one smolanyana or two fitting into a regular sized closet. You can't fit those skeletons into a massive couch banking. You cannot fit those skeletons into Joshua Door banking. All of the banks, all of the king's banks cannot fit all of the skeletons that are coming out here. So this comment was reminiscent of that, right? Let's get that one. That was just me just reflecting on all of the statements ANC members have made, basically dry snitching on themselves. Like, well, small skeletons, if you think about it, if you wink and you look, we can't really come at each other because abanye bethu bazokhala. Some of us will cry if we actually get a full picture. So that's what was said there. Now, if you think about Senzum Kunu himself, the whole act of doing these speeches shows that the man is convinced that he can beat this. And he's been told, maybe, not to worry. People told him, we got you. We're gonna let it play out a little bit. Something may happen to another former police minister. We'll come for Brown Mogotsi. We'll say you didn't know. I don't know. Things are unfolding. If you pay close attention, you'll be able to see what's fully unfolding, right? So it looks as if he's been told, come down, just do your thing. Do your thing. And you must remember, he may have serious leverage because Senzum Kunu is the police minister who basically sealed the Hawks investigation on the Phala farm robbery and is still one of the key players. And that pertains to as it affects President Cyril Ramaphosa and his knowledge or lack thereof of the money in the sofa. What happened to the sofa? Now we are finding out that the sofa disappeared 1 week after the, findings around that there was money in this Joshua Door bank. You got an uncle in the banking business, Joshua Door. Hey, we know, malume. It's a bakery on the one side. You get cupcakes, you get biscuits. On the other side, there's a Joshua Door. Anyway, he's the one who sealed all of that. And when you consider the size of the MK tsunami in KwaZulu-Natal, the MK tsunami is not over. Konto Wesizwe is yet to gwaz at a high rate of gwaz velocity in KwaZulu-Natal in local government elections. 2029 was just, 2024 was just the beginning. They're not done. So there's a lot of fear and apprehension. You know, everyone is projecting confidence and all of that. They've got a regional task team and they're trying to actually fix KZN. But right now, KZN is going to show them flames because even in the, by-elections, you were seeing MK coming through and winning a lot of those. And that's not with the full volume. As we get into 2026 and get into that local government election framework, you may find that MK party will take over KwaZulu-Natal outright. So Senzum Kunu occupies an interesting position because he's one of the few people who's still active on the ground in KwaZulu-Natal and may be able to offer ANC senior leadership a promise. Number one, I sealed, the controversial Pala Pala Hawks investigation. Don't worry about that. I got you. If someone else comes in here who's not, cognizant or sensitive to you, that thing can get unsealed and you may end up in some unfavorable territory as the person who had the Sofa Bank, right? Number two, the offer could be, listen, guys, you can't remove me at a time like this. We are in the middle of a hectic situation and the ANC could collapse in KwaZulu-Natal. KwaZulu-Natal could basically become some version of the Western Cape, fully under the control of the MK party. So there's a concern around that, and also at a higher level, you need to be aware. Senzo Mchunu was circulating on the slate as the deputy presidential candidate on the Patrice Motsepe slate when that whole narrative was being rolled out or tested out. So he's not a small player in the ANC at this point, and you can tell he's still comfortable and he's like, mistakes happen. Whoopsie. Hey, Brown Mogotsi. Hey, whoopsie. That's how people took it. They took it as a whoops. Smolanyana things. Right? And then Fikile Mbalula exposed that he himself has been messaged by the notorious Mr. Brown Envelope Mogotsi. BEM, not BIG, not the notorious BIG, the notorious Brown IG, the Brown Envelope Mogotsi. He has been messaging Fikile Mbalula. Everyone is acting like they don't know this man well enough to speak about him. But he's messaging the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner, he's messaging all manner of people, he's messaging Matlala, he's even messaging Fikile Mbalula, he's got his number. He's messaging journalists, they have him on Brown Envelope Mogotsi, Brown DJ Envelope from the CR17 Breakfast Club. Brown Envy. Hey. This character. So Fikile Mbalula says he didn't occupy a serious role. They only found out about Brown Mogotsi when the media was talking about him after General Mkhwanazi spoke about him. The day General Mkhwanazi spoke about Brown Mogotsi, I knew something was smelling. I knew something was up. The media, we'll talk about that now. But Fikile Mbalula also was casting some shade. It looks as if, it's not all roses and petals there within the top 7, I think. Listen to what he had to say.
Brown Mogotsi, your favorite person. Let me explain Brown Mogotsi. Mogotsi was a member of the ANC. He did not occupy any significant role in the African National ANC, except being a member whose membership expired. If it was not because of this process, we wouldn't have known about that character. Let us be honest with you. But Mogotsi is not alone. There are many such characters who have infiltrated the ANC. You can ask yourself, a person who's so low in the ANC, how does he have control and be accused of big things like what we are reading? That tells you a story that the ANC is infiltrated. The next thing, boom, we're being shouted about Brown Mogotsi. Who's this guy? He speaks about the ANC like he's a trident. He even sent me a message here. He sent me a message. I don't know where does he get my number. I don't care. I won't respond to him. He's not a member of the ANC. He's not. It took me time to go to the records. I went to the branch, even the province. He's not a member of the ANC. He's just going up and down, perambulating among leaders and his proximity. He's not a member. The things that he does and he's proclaimed to have done, he's doing them on his own by impressing few leaders of the ANC who want to be impressed by him. It's got nothing to do with the movement. That time that the ANC is going to be dragged into the mud by characters we don't know. It's over. It's over. Actually, we should have answered you long time ago about Brown Mogotsi. When you asked the question, who's this guy? Because you media, you did ask. We didn't answer you immediately. But every day, man, the album is growing. About this Mogotsi. Who's this guy? He's on podcast. Hey, this is accounting about leaders of the ANC. He's accounting about things, police. So Brown Mogotsi, in a nutshell, he's not a member of the ANC. And we'll never take him to the DC for anything. He must account for whatever he's accused of with whoever in the ANC he is accused to have had dealings with. And as far as our organization is concerned, he's not our member. Period. That is clear. And we have proven in terms of membership, we know that joining ANC sometimes is not reduced to a card. Brown Mogotsi does not fit that he can be a member of the ANC by soul and all of that, given his behavior. No member of the ANC must ever associate himself or herself with that kind of behavior. Criminals are criminals. There must be a line between a criminal and a revolutionary. What does Oliver Tambo say? Says a revolutionary must be distinguishable from a vigilante, a tsotsi, and a criminal. Today, distinguishability between the two has become questionable in the eyes of our people because of characters like this. How do I explain Brown Mogotsi tomorrow? But SG, who Brown Mogotsi ngubani? Wena budibana kuphi na? Uyabona mchana. Yeah. When we're doing a campaign for me to become this and that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. A revolutionary must be distinguishable from a tsotsi, a criminal, and everything else.
Here are my thoughts and reflections on the Mbalula comments. Number one, Brown Mogotsi is not just some regular member that is no longer a member. He did occupy a serious role within the CR17 campaign. Journalists know him. Media houses have identified him as someone who was a CR17 campaigner. So we can't say, we don't know who this guy is, whatever the case may be. Let's just get that one out of the way. Secondly, this guy has a massive Rolodex. That's what the Americans call it, Rolodex, the black book. His massive contacts, senior ANC people, senior police people. We know he's been able to get police documents. We know that he's been a big operator in Northwest. Zamani Soul, that's his province. He needs to explain what he knows about this guy. People know Brown Mogotsi in Northwest. He seems to be a major player within the behind-the-scenes politics. And by the way, many people are behind the scenes in ANC politics that you may not even be aware of. Johan Rupert, South Africa's richest man, exposed that he too is behind in ANC politics because he said he was getting information during the Zuma days. He said that Ronald Lamula is his boy. He's like, mfanamu Ronald Lamula. That's my boy. That's the boyski. Right? The things we're seeing there, right? He was saying, I'm big bro to Ronald Lamula. Ronald was a radical, etc., etc. Brown has shown that he also is a player behind the scenes. Just because he doesn't have a title per se doesn't mean that he's not a big player within the ANC and the machinery of the ANC. Here's the contacts of Hoshkari dons who are implicated in large-scale fraud, murders, drug dealing, arms dealing, kidnapping, hijacking, money laundering, all other forms of Hoshkari behavior. He's claiming that he was involved in the recovery of Thabo Bester. He's up and down in Mozambique, where actually right now Mulefe's son is said to be. Right? And we don't even know what he's doing up and down all around these places. We need more clarification. But it looks as if the ANC right now is willing to blame this dude, distance themselves, blame also the known cartel leaders, Katiso Molefe and Vusimuzi Matlala, and try to wrap it up. Right? It's very worrying, actually, when they say that they were not aware of him. Because if he was doing all of these things and people are like, we don't know who this guy is. And it's also very worrying that they're saying that there are lots of people like Brown Mogotsi in the organization is infiltrated. So if you're not aware of the levels of infiltration, how can you definitively say that this is not the nature of the ANC in this particular moment when we know that people are being killed for exposing Hoshkari behavior in municipalities? They're being assassinated on streets. Papita was assassinated. Mpo Marole was assassinated. Ahmad Swat was assassinated, and many more were assassinated for exposing. The auditor's report in and of itself shows that there's massive corruption happening in municipalities, in state-owned enterprises. Zondo Commission, we also heard a lot about corruption, but also people know what they see, and they know what they see in terms of the lives that are lived by councillors, the lives that are lived by people who are so-called tenderpreneurs, so-called business people by the media, when actually they are Hoshkari cartel leaders. You know, this whole argument that Brown is a bad apple while also acknowledging that there are lots of bad apples is weird, because we all know, one bad apple can spoil the barrel. And you're saying there's a lot of bad apples. So basically, whatever apple juice is being produced here, give vinegar, right? It's vinegar, this thing. You're giving us vinegar, but you're saying you don't know how it became vinegar, apple cider. You were aiming for apple cider. You were trying to give us some apple cider. You're just giving us apple vinegar. It ain't the same thing. They're acknowledging that the infiltration is happening. And it looks, from my perspective, that the infiltration goes up to high places, because this guy was campaigning for President Cyril Ramaphosa. He's known by the media as a Cyril Ramaphosa campaigner. He's messaging Senzo Mchunu. He's messaging other people who are senior, even messaging the Secretary General of the ANC, somebody who operates as the CEO of the African National Congress, the oldest organization politically in Africa. He's got your number. She's. That's not trivial. Right? The whole argument of the New Dawn, was that state capture years have ended. The 9 wasted years have ended. But now we're having a guy here who's talking to Hoshkari hitmen, who's associated with Hoshkari leaders, and is influential in the closing of a political killing task team with them. Basically, we don't have a New Dawn. We've got old Vaseline. Old Vaseline. At this point, we need a new noon. We need a new noon, because New Dawn is not working. Get somebody who can bring a new noon, because New Dawn is not working. And, he gave a lot of credit to the media, and I don't think that credit is as fair as he thinks it is, because the media actually knows who Brown Mogotsi is. They just didn't want to tell the public who Brown Mogotsi is. They also know who Hangwani Morgan Maumela is. And you must remember, Brown Mogotsi is a small fry in this whole pan. The big fish in the pan is Hangwani Morgan Maumela. He's the one who links to Benjani Chauke. He's the one who links to President Cyril Ramaphosa through his relation to him through marriage. It's actually the public and internet platforms like The Dissection, like SMWX, who have been asking about this mzegezege called Brown Mogotsi. Uba numzegezege. Umzegezege. Uba numzegeze. Brown Mogotsi umzegezege. Who are these mzegezege Hoshkari behavior characters? More critically, the media right now is still showing a reluctance to fully explain who Hangwani Morgan Maumela is. Case in point, there's only a side profile picture of him, one from an event that he was at with Edwin Sodi. They've got his number. They ask him for comments, but they still can't tell you his full story. They still can't tell you where he's spending money, etc., etc. Let me tell you this. If the Secretary General of the ANC is serious about exposing infiltrators of the ANC, the SG, Fikile Mbalula, tell us who is Hangwani Maumela to the ANC. Is Vusi Machala a member of the ANC? Is Katiso Mulefe a member of the ANC? Tell us now. Malcolm X, Chakalaka version, Malcolm X Light, is he a member of the ANC? Tell us now, because the biggest question is not who is Brown. And you took a long time to even answer who's Brown, because we first heard about Brown in March. On the 5th of March, I'm recording this on the 5th of October, 7 months later. So the biggest question now is, who is Hangwani Morgan Maumela? The Hoshkari behavior he has done, billions stolen from departments of health. He has not done that without help from senior politicians and well-connected politicians. Middlemen, like all of these characters that we're hearing about. The media houses, they know this guy. They message him for comments. Can't show us his face in 4K video at 24 frames per second. If it was a Gupta or a Zuma relative, I would know his blood type by now. I would know which clothes he bought for which Hoshkari mama at which shop for how much. I would know the color of the bottom of his shoes. I would know the brand of underwear that he's wearing. I would know the cell phone he's wearing. I would know the drink he loves to drink. I would know the places he loves to go to. But with Hangwani, it's all up in the air. It's all up in the air. So SG, in as much as you are telling the public who is Brown Mogotsi to the ANC, tell us also who is Hangwani Morgan Maumela. Media, don't just be narrow and tactical with your questions. This scandal is not just about Brown Mogotsi Vusi Matlala. It is also about Hangwani Morgan Maumela. It is also about him. So remember, he's connected to Matlala. Matlala was his small boy. If Matlala is a Hosh Curry Don, he's a Hosh Curry Don father. We need to get more clarity. So don't just be tactical. And we need to get these investigative reports about these people in detail. We know that his mother was involved in some of the corruption allegations. We still don't have details about her. The sister was involved in the allegations. We don't have details about her. I just saw on social media, people were talking about his father recently died, and there were massive, massive amounts of expensive vehicles that were at the funeral. High-profile people were at the funeral. How come the media couldn't tell us that this guy's father had died and all of this was happening at his father's funeral, knowing that he's a key person of interest to all of this that is happening right now? Really, 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 tell us. Is he in good standing within the ANC? Who does he know in there? Uhangwani Morgan Maumela, who is part and parcel of everything that is playing out here. How are ministers such as Fikile, former ministers, meeting at his mansions? Hangwani's mansions. Do you even know the full extent of his mansions? Let's have a conversation, guys. I don't know what you think in the comments. Let me meet you there about what Mbalula said and all of the stuff that Senzum Kunu was saying. Do you think that people are taking it too far, or do you think that he just doesn't care a damn, as they say? Let's have a conversation. I'll meet you in the comments.